This is the North Shore Community Association's podcast, February 18th, 2022. Hello, this is Max Cote, the NSCA Development Agent.
And Annie Lafrenière, the NSCA Programs and Communications Coordinator.
In this episode, we'll be interviewing Joelle Hurley, who is an electronic engineering technician in Baie-Comeau, working for Alcoa. Then we'll cover the community events and services. This is another interview of a community member on the NSCA podcast. The objective of these interviews is to showcase community involvement, services to the English-speaking community, and their professions or careers. Joelle Hurley is a resident of Baie-Comeau and is an electronic engineering technician. Hello, Joelle. Nice of you to come and speak to us today.
Hi.
First, can you state your full name, where you're from, where you live, and the career or job title you have?
Yeah, I'm Joelle Hurley. I'm from Labrador City, now living in Baie-Comeau. I work at Alcoa, the Baie-Comeau smelter more specifically, and I'm an instrumentation technician there.
I'd like to hear how you chose this career and where you went to school to become an electronic engineering technician, starting from your high school, then college, and any other post-secondary studies you might have gone through.
Yeah, I graduated high school at Baie-Comeau High School in 2016. And then I was off to Dawson College in Montreal. There I studied social sciences in the psychological profile. I ended up thinking it wasn't for me, so I wanted to try something new. Decided I went into nursing at Edouard Montpetit there in Longueuil. Then I continued with the questioning, wanting to try something new, and that's when I stumbled across the electronic engineering program and at the Cégep de Baie-Comeau. So I just decided I would try something new and see what would come out of it.
Can you explain what the career of an electronic engineer technician entails?
Yeah, so an electronic engineering technician takes mostly care of automation of processes in different types of industries. We also work with a lot of robots, so we do the robotics in industries as well. Measuring instruments also in our field, so anything measuring speed, weight, length, that helps with automation of the process. We also touch a little bit on computer sciences, so like communication and that kind of computer science.
What type of clientele or employer do you work with, and are there multiple fields an electronic engineering technician can work in?
Yeah, I work at an aluminum smelter for Alcoa more specifically, like I mentioned, but there's a whole bunch of different fields. I've done a work term at a sawmill. You can work for towns, municipalities, Hydro-Quebec, or any kind of production company, electricity production, of course. You can work for consulting engineering firms. You can also work in the teaching in this field, especially because there's a lack of teachers, especially in our field. So always need those. So there's a whole bunch of different places. There's a place for everybody, actually.
Can you describe to me what the CEGEP or college experience was like for you on the North Shore, and if you had to leave the region for your studies?
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, I started my post-secondary studies in Montreal at Dawson College. That was a totally different experience from on the North Shore. For example, I left at 17, had to get my own apartment. And with everything that comes with it, cooking, cleaning, and all the rest. Also different from living on the North Shore was a lot of public transportation. So along bus rides and metro, waking up early in the morning, coming home late at night. So yeah, that's my experience in Montreal. And my experience here in Baie-Comeau was completely different. It was also the classes are smaller here in Baie-Comeau. So that was the major difference for me. Teachers are really close to you, and you're really close to the building, and you're also close to the industry. the teaching in Baie-Comeau was so close to the industry and the reality of our region, whereas in Montreal it was kind of very general. It wasn't specific to each person, whereas here in Baie-Comeau it was really.
Explain to me what a typical day in Joelle's work routine looks like.
So I start at 7 o'clock in the morning. So I wake up well before daylight this time of year. I head off to the smelter, which is another thing, perks of Baie-Comeau. You're very close to your work. So I get to the smelter, put on my gear, and I'm off to the shop, where I pick up my maintenance plans for the week, actually. So we have planned jobs, maintenances, or installation sometimes. We also have non-planned jobs, so we have time set aside for that. It can be troubleshooting, installing, replacing any type of equipment. So every day is really different, actually, and every week is different because, different jobs come around, and it's never really planned in a heavy industry like that. So my days are never the same. That's what it looks like.
How did your friends and parents react to your choice of career?
Well, they were actually very surprised because of my previous choices, but they were very supportive. They asked me a lot of questions, like to know more about the field. They were actually really interested. They thought it was an interesting field, and which it is really. And they quickly realized that it was the better career choice for me, and also it was a career that suited me really well.
How important is bilingualism in your work?
I would say it's very important, even necessary. We need to know English for data sheets of parts, to speak with companies for various parts, or just for support, like a technical support. Also, a lot of this is actually a reality well, I don't think it's only on the North Shore, but when we're speaking about parts or different kind of technologies, we often use the English words. So when you're only speaking French, you have to learn those kinds of different English words. So yeah, like I said, data sheets, speaking with companies, all that, I use them every day, without a doubt.
What would you have as advice to young listeners if they were interested in this field of work?
I think my number one would be, don't be afraid to try something new. Like I said, I tried 2 different times and it was not a success for me. In CEGEP or any post-secondary studies, nothing is a loss. You don't lose the credits that you've passed already. One thing that I definitely did not regret with changing fields, I saved all those credits so I could concentrate on really the specifics of the program when I was in engineering technologies, electric engineering technologies. So it's not a difficult program, I would say, but it has its specifics, and you have to learn all those specifics. So it was important for me to have all those credits saved. So it wasn't a loss, really. It was actually very helpful. I could concentrate more on the specifics. I would say, especially for the girls who are hesitating maybe of going into a non-traditional field, I want you guys to know that the industry is changing, and it'll continue to change, especially with more women comes more inclusivity. So I think that's important to remember.
Well, thank you, Ms. Joelle Hurley, for your participation to this podcast. I'd like to extend my gratitude from our young listeners for participating in this interview.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
The February Family Ties e-bulletin is out online, filled with activities and content pertaining to early literacy. If you'd like to consult the e-bulletin, go to the NSCA Facebook page for the direct link.
The School Perseverance Week, called Hooked on School Days, activities were held from February 14th to 18th across the North Shore. The theme, You Make It Meaningful, aims to pay tribute to parents, teachers, educators, employers, and community workers for their caring support of young people. Other activities promoting awareness will be held during the whole year, so stay alert and some of the communications from the RAP côte-nord will come out. As for the NSCA, it participated in planning and organizing a virtual career fair where all high school students of the North Shore could have chosen from a dozen career professionals and listen to their educational pathways and their experiences and advice on each career. This annual career fair was set up in part for the School Perseverance Week and in part for the McGill Retention Program. We hope to see all the students next year at this annual event.
Are you an English-speaking young adult between 18 to 29 living in Quebec? We want to hear from you. Take our Youth Pulse Check survey and help us better understand the challenges youth are facing and whether you are getting the help that you need. All submissions are anonymous and will improve access to mental health services in Quebec. For every submission, CHSSN will donate $1 to the Kids Help Phone, up to $500. In addition, the NSCA will donate $2 to the Centre de Prévention du Suicide Côte-Nord for every North Shore respondents to the survey. Go to the NSCA Facebook page for the link to the survey.
The town of Baie-Comeau has announced their full list of activities for Family Week. From February 26 to March 6, you may enjoy hundreds of activities held by the town or a multitude of partners and community organizations for all age groups and families. To see the whole planned week of activities, please go to the Ville de Baie-Comeau website.
During this week, the NSCA Bright Beginnings program will be offering a storytime activity on March 3rd at the Alice Lane Public Library. The event will be held at 1:30 p.m. You can get more information on the theme and activity on the NSCA Facebook page. To reserve your place at the event, please call the library at 418-296-8304.
Both film festivals, Cine7 and Cinoche, have announced their festival dates, both following the same dates of March 10th to the 20th. Their respective programs of films will be showcased has not been announced yet, but you can get the information as soon as it's announced by following their respective Facebook pages.
Youth for Youth Quebec is excited to announce that it's getting busy in preparation of their 2022 forum. The 5th annual forum will engage English-speaking youth from across the province in activities and conversations about the issues that have been identified over the past year as most important to you: mental health, climate change, and community involvement. Come and join them for an action-packed 2 hours on March 19th. Free gift cards or vouchers of $30 to either Chapters Indigo or Uber Eats will be given to all youth participants who attend the whole event. Go to their website, www.y4yquebec.org, to register.
Do you know how to identify elder abuse? What are your rights if you suspect you are a victim of elder abuse? Is mediation an option? Seniors Action Quebec will be offering a webinar on the subject March 16th at 10 a.m. until noon. This webinar will be discussing the different types of senior abuse, how to prevent abuse, and will provide information on legal resources. To register, you must send an email by March 15th at info@seniorsactionquebec.ca. You can consult the event poster on the NSCA Facebook page.
Some events to look forward to have been announced for June. The Happening des Arts in Tadoussac, a painting symposium of amateur painters, will be held on the 10th of June until the 12th. Registration of artists that will want to exhibit their paintings can register as of the 18th of February. The Happening des Arts has its own Facebook page if you are interested.